The Galactic Tournament was a spectacle unlike any other, a grand event held every century to crown the universe's greatest hunter. Across countless star systems, warriors and predators alike gathered, eager to prove themselves against the most fearsome creatures ever known. The tournament was a test of endurance, skill, and wit, a brutal, unforgiving gauntlet where only the strongest survived. This was no mere competition, it was a rite of passage, an honor sought by every species that fancied itself powerful. The winner earned not just prestige but a place in the annals of galactic history, forever recognized as an apex predator among predators. The tournament had always been reserved for those the Galactic Council deemed worthy, species known for their strength, cunning, or ruthlessness. But this year, an unexpected development occurred. An invitation was sent to a planet on the fringe of known space, a place many in the Council had scarcely considered, Earth. The message, a brief transmission in an ancient dialect, arrived without fanfare. To the Galactic Council, it seemed like a joke, a mistake even. Humans? Primitive, warlike, barely able to leave their own solar system, what business did they have in a competition of this caliber? In the council chambers, laughter rippled through the assembly as the invitation was read aloud. A reptilian council member scoffed, his eyes narrowing in disdain. Humans? He hissed. What are they but a species that crawled out of their caves only recently? This is absurd. Others nodded in agreement, amused by the very idea. They saw Earth as nothing more than a backwater, its inhabitants too simple-minded and weak to pose any real challenge. The decision was made quickly, ignore it, move on. But on Earth, the message had a very different reception. When the transmission was intercepted and decoded, it sparked immediate intrigue among the highest levels of government and military. The idea was audacious, almost reckless, but it struck a chord. A chance to test themselves against the universe's greatest hunters, to prove what humanity was truly capable of. How could they turn it down? A special task force was quickly assembled, drawing from the best of Earth's elite soldiers, survivalists, and strategists. They were a diverse group, men and women who had faced all manner of terrestrial dangers, but nothing like what awaited them among the stars. In a secure underground facility, the team gathered for their first briefing. The room buzzed with a mix of excitement and nerves. A general stepped forward, his face stern but energized. "You all know why you're here," he began. "This is a challenge unlike any we have faced, but it's also an opportunity. We've been underestimated, seen as weak, unworthy. It's time to change that narrative." He paused, scanning their faces, seeing the resolve that matched his own. "This is not just a contest of strength. It's a test of ingenuity, adaptability, and spirit. We'll be facing creatures and competitors beyond anything in our experience, but I believe we are ready." The next weeks were a blur of intense preparation. The team was put through rigorous physical and mental training, designed to push them beyond their limits. They studied every scrap of information available on the tournament's history, its previous winners, the environments used, and the creatures featured. The data was scarce and often vague, but it was enough to give them a sense of what to expect, a crucible where the rules were few, and the dangers were many. The strategists worked tirelessly, formulating plans, analyzing potential threats, and devising ways to leverage human strengths. They understood that their greatest advantage lay not in raw power but in adaptability, the ability to think on their feet, to use the unexpected to their advantage. They trained in diverse environments, jungles, deserts, frozen tundras, preparing for any terrain they might face. Equipment was customized, weapons modified to suit both human hands and the alien ecosystems they might encounter. Finally, the day arrived. The human team stood assembled, suited up and ready. Each carried a mix of modern weaponry and survival gear, their expressions focused and determined. A shimmering portal opened before them, a gateway to the tournament planet where they would be tested. One by one, they stepped through, leaving Earth behind, not knowing if they would ever return. On the other side, they were greeted by a harsh, alien landscape, a world that seemed designed to kill. The sky was a murky shade of red, the air thick with an acrid smell. Alien hunters from countless species were already gathered, some towering and fearsome, others sleek and menacing. The humans drew curious and mocking glances from all sides. A hulking figure with 6 eyes and a spiked tail laughed openly, speaking in a guttural tone that translated roughly to, "Fresh meat has arrived." Another alien, thin and serpentine, sneered, "Look at them. Soft-skinned, small. They won't last a day." The humans ignored the jeers, focusing on their mission. They knew they were seen as weak, as prey, but they also knew something their competitors did not. They had come prepared, and they were ready to prove themselves. The human team stepped onto the alien terrain, immediately feeling the oppressive heat and the weight of the unfamiliar atmosphere. The ground beneath their feet was rough and uneven, a strange combination of jagged rocks and shifting sands. The air was thick with an acrid scent, and strange sounds echoed in the distance: low growls, rustling movements, the occasional screech of an unknown creature. The landscape stretched out endlessly, dotted with twisted trees, thick underbrush, and alien fauna that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Every instinct told them they were in a place where everything, down to the smallest insect, was designed to kill. Above, alien competitors observed from high vantage points, some perched on cliffs, others hovering in advanced aircraft. They watched with amusement, eyes filled with eager anticipation, waiting for the inevitable moment when the humans would make a fatal mistake. To them, this was just another round of the tournament, another chance to see newcomers fail spectacularly. The first challenge began almost immediately. A faint rustling grew louder, coming from multiple directions. The human team tensed, their senses on high alert, but there was no time to react. Without warning, a pack of alien predators emerged from the undergrowth, moving with terrifying speed. These creatures were unlike anything the humans had ever seen: massive, muscular bodies covered in scales, multiple limbs ending in razor-sharp claws, and heads with rows of serrated teeth. They were built for one purpose: to hunt. The pack descended upon the team in a coordinated attack, each predator moving with lethal precision. The initial moments were chaos. The humans, caught off guard, scrambled to find cover, returning fire with their weapons, but the creatures were fast, too fast. 2 team members were taken down in the first wave, their screams cutting through the air as they were dragged into the shadows. The remaining humans quickly formed a defensive line, backing up against a rock face, weapons raised. For a moment, it seemed as if the alien hunters' expectations would be met. The humans appeared overwhelmed, their movements frantic, their coordination breaking under the relentless assault. But then something changed. The team's leader barked out a series of commands, sharp and clear, cutting through the noise. The humans, now under pressure, began to adapt. Recognizing that raw firepower alone wouldn't be enough, they started to use their surroundings. A soldier threw a smoke grenade, filling the area with a thick, blinding haze. The predators hesitated, their senses momentarily confused. Another team member, a survivalist known for her quick thinking, noticed a patch of ground with a softer texture. "There!" she shouted, directing the group to move back towards it. She had spotted a natural trap, quicksand hidden beneath a thin layer of dirt. The humans began to retreat slowly, luring the creatures towards the patch. The predators, confident in their superior strength and speed, pursued eagerly. The lead predator leapt, landing directly in the quicksand and sinking almost instantly. It struggled, its many limbs flailing wildly, but the more it fought, the faster it sank. The others, driven by instinct, charged in to help, but they too were caught. With the pack momentarily stalled, the humans seized their chance. They set up makeshift traps using equipment they had brought: tripwires, explosive charges, and nets woven from lightweight, high-strength material. They worked with speed and precision, knowing every second counted. The alien hunters watching from above began to lean forward, their amusement turning to curiosity. The creatures, now wary but still hungry, regrouped and attacked again. But this time, the humans were ready. The traps sprang into action. An explosion sent one predator flying back, while another was ensnared in a net, struggling against its bonds. The humans, no longer retreating, moved forward in a coordinated assault, targeting the creature's weak points, aiming for the joints and eyes. Their weapons, while not as advanced as the aliens, were used with deadly efficiency. Slowly but surely, the tide began to turn. The predators, once so confident in their dominance, started to fall back, disoriented by the humans' tactics. The remaining creatures circled warily, growling, but they hesitated to attack again. They had underestimated these new prey, and now they were paying the price. The alien spectators above were stunned. They had seen many species fight in these tournaments, but never had they seen such quick adaptation, such clever use of the environment, such a seamless blend of defense and offense. The announcers, who had been narrating with a tone of mockery, grew silent for a moment before muttering among themselves. "Perhaps these humans are not as weak as we thought," one finally said, a hint of unease in his voice. The human team, breathing heavily but victorious, regrouped and began to tend to their wounded. They had survived the first challenge, but they knew this was just the beginning. The creatures had been just the opening move, a test to see how they would fare. The real challenges were still ahead, and they had already made an impression, one that would not be forgotten. As the alien spectators continued to whisper, the humans stood firm, ready for whatever came next. The tournament had only just begun, but already, the game was changing. The human team gathered, their breaths still heavy from the first encounter. They knew that the tournament was not just about brute strength but about outthinking their opponents. The initial skirmish had shown them the nature of the competition: no rules, no fairness, just survival. Quickly, they began to study their surroundings and the other competitors. They observed how the alien hunters moved, how they communicated, and most importantly, how they underestimated every species that wasn't from their own elite ranks. One of the soldiers, a former reconnaissance expert, pointed out the patterns in the movements of a particularly dominant alien team. "Look," he said, "they always set up their ambushes near water sources. They're predictable." Another team member, a tactician, noted that some of the alien hunters relied heavily on their advanced technology, rarely deviating from what they perceived as superior methods. The humans saw a potential advantage. These competitors were used to fighting with their technology, but they rarely adapted when things went wrong. The team made a decision: they would not wait to be hunted. They would become the hunters. They decided to go after one of the leading alien teams, a group known for its arrogance and flashy tactics. They crafted a plan that relied on deception and misdirection. They set traps in places that seemed obvious, knowing that the aliens would easily detect and dismantle them. Meanwhile, they hid their true traps in less likely spots, places where no one would think to look twice. At the designated time, the humans triggered the fake traps, drawing the alien team into a false sense of confidence. The alien leader, a towering figure with a gleaming suit of armor, laughed as his team disabled the traps one by one. "Is this the best they can do?" he mocked, his voice echoing through the translator. His team relaxed, assuming victory was imminent. But just as they let their guard down, the real traps sprang into action. Explosive charges hidden in the rocks detonated, sending debris flying. Nets made of reinforced material snapped into place, ensnaring two of the aliens before they could react. The human team moved swiftly, capitalizing on the confusion. They launched a coordinated attack from multiple directions, using guerrilla tactics to overwhelm the alien team. They targeted the weak points of their armor, exploiting gaps in their defenses that they had noted earlier. The aliens, caught off guard, tried to regroup, but the humans had anticipated this. They kept the pressure on, using hit-and-run tactics, moving constantly, never allowing the aliens to gain the upper hand. Within minutes, the tables had turned completely. The once confident alien team was now scattered, their members wounded or trapped. The human team pushed forward, showing no mercy. They moved with a precision and discipline that unnerved their opponents, using not just force but strategy. They exploited every mistake, every hesitation, and within moments, they had the aliens on the run. But the humans didn't stop there. They knew that to truly change the dynamic of the tournament, they needed to prove they were not prey but predators. They turned their attention to the creatures that had terrorized other teams. They set out to capture or neutralize the galaxy's fiercest predators, using traps and strategies they had devised back on Earth. They lured a giant serpent into a pit lined with spikes, tricked a creature with heat-seeking senses into chasing false targets, and even managed to bait a flying predator into an explosive-laden cave. One by one, the feared creatures of the tournament fell to the humans' cunning. Every victory was a demonstration, not just of their combat skills, but of their ability to think creatively, to adapt, and to use whatever resources they had. They moved through the terrain like shadows, unseen until it was too late. The aliens watching from above could no longer laugh. Their amusement turned to discomfort, then to alarm. The tournament announcers, who had started with mocking tones, now spoke in hushed voices, trying to make sense of what they were seeing. "How are they doing this?" one asked. "They aren't using advanced technology. They don't have the strength of the Farlax or the speed of the Zathrians. How are they winning?" The answer became evident when the humans captured one of the alien leaders, a prominent figure who had mocked them earlier. Under pressure, with his team scattered and defeated, he finally spoke, fear evident in his voice. We did not expect this," he admitted. "We thought you were weak, easy prey. But you are something else." The admission sent a ripple through the tournament's organizers. Whispers spread quickly. No one had anticipated humans to make it this far, to upset the balance so completely. The unexpected outcome brewed unease among those who had always seen themselves as the ultimate hunters. The game had changed, and now, for the first time, the aliens felt a chill of fear. The humans were proving to be more formidable than anyone had ever imagined. The tournament organizers, rattled by the unexpected rise of the human team, decided to change the rules. They could no longer afford to let these newcomers continue their surprising success. A directive was sent out: escalate the difficulty, remove any leniency. The deadliest creatures, those normally reserved for the final rounds, were released into the terrain, their sole purpose to hunt the humans. The creatures were beasts of legend, each more terrifying than the last: a massive arachnid with corrosive venom, a hulking beast with skin impervious to most known weapons, and a predator that moved with such speed it appeared as a blur. Meanwhile, whispers spread among the alien competitors. Many, who had initially seen the humans as a trivial nuisance, now saw them as a legitimate threat. They began to collaborate, forming uneasy alliances with one goal in mind: eliminate the humans before it was too late. The humans had defied the odds too many times, and their continued success was beginning to unsettle even the most confident of the galactic hunters. They moved with renewed focus, tracking the humans' movements, setting traps of their own, and planning coordinated attacks. The humans found themselves constantly on the move, dodging attacks from all sides. Every path seemed blocked by new threats, every turn met with more aggression. Yet, instead of faltering, they adapted to the escalating challenges with determination. They had expected this. They had known that success would draw more danger. They used the creatures and competitors against each other, manipulating their instincts and rivalries. They set a trap near a water source where two rival alien teams lay in wait for them. They lured one of the deadliest creatures, a giant venomous serpent, into the area, knowing it would attack anything in its path. Chaos erupted as the serpent clashed with the aliens, allowing the humans to slip through unnoticed. But the organizers weren't done. The next wave was even more relentless, the creatures more aggressive, the alien teams more desperate. The humans found themselves cornered on a rocky plateau, with sheer cliffs on either side. The predators advanced, eyes glowing in the dim light, and the alien hunters moved in from above, their weapons trained on the plateau. The humans took a deep breath, steadying themselves. This was the moment they had prepared for. They turned the landscape to their advantage. A hidden explosive charge brought down a section of rock, cutting off one approach. Smoke grenades filled the air, creating a smoke screen that confused the predator's senses. The humans used the chaos to reposition themselves, setting up a defensive perimeter. They fought with precision, targeting weak points, staying mobile, never allowing themselves to be pinned down. One of the creatures lunged, and they drew it into a narrow ravine, where it became stuck, unable to maneuver. The human team's sharpshooters took advantage, delivering fatal blows. The alien competitors watched in disbelief as the humans kept surviving, kept fighting back. Their confidence began to waver. These humans weren't just lucky, they were resilient, adaptable, relentless. For every obstacle thrown at them, they found a way around or through it. The humans were proving themselves in a way no one had anticipated. The final challenge was announced, the ultimate test of survival, a showdown against the most feared predator in the galaxy, a massive, ancient creature with scales as hard as steel, capable of crushing a tank with a single swipe, a being whose roar could be heard miles away, a predator that had ended the lives of countless hunters over the centuries. The alien spectators grew silent, unsure of what to expect. They had seen these humans defy the odds, but this creature was different, a living legend of death. The human team, battered but unbroken, gathered their remaining strength. They had studied every bit of data they could find on this predator, but there was little information. Most records ended in the same way, with silence, a testament to the creature's lethality. But the humans didn't back down. They knew they had come too far to retreat now. They set traps, reinforced their positions, and prepared for the encounter, understanding this would be the most dangerous test yet. The ground began to tremble as the creature approached, its massive form casting a shadow over the landscape. The humans felt the vibrations, heard the low, rumbling growl. They stood their ground, weapons ready, hearts pounding. The creature emerged, a hulking mass of muscle and scales, its eyes burning with a predatory intelligence. It paused, assessing them, and for a moment, everything was still. Then it charged. The humans did not flinch. They moved as one, executing their plan with precise timing. They used bait to lure the creature into a narrow canyon where its size would be a disadvantage. They triggered traps, explosions, and barriers to slow it down, to test its weaknesses. The creature roared, smashing through obstacles, relentless in its pursuit. The humans kept their distance, analyzing, adapting, searching for any vulnerability. The air was thick with tension, both on the battlefield and among the spectators. The other alien hunters, who had doubted, mocked, and even allied against the humans, now watched in a mix of awe and fear. The moment of truth was at hand, and no one knew what would happen next. The humans, small in comparison, stood firm, their eyes fixed on the charging beast. They had come to prove a point, to themselves, to the galaxy. And they were not about to back down. The creature lunged forward with terrifying speed, a mass of muscle and fury, its roar shaking the very ground. The humans did not waver. They moved swiftly, executing the plan they had crafted with meticulous precision. They split into two groups, one drawing the predator's attention, while the other set traps and prepared their next move. They were not just trying to survive, they were studying it, learning its patterns, its strengths, and its weaknesses. The creature's scales deflected their initial attacks, and its immense strength shattered the barriers they had set up. But the humans remained undeterred. They used their surroundings, creating diversions with smoke and mirrors, forcing the beast into a narrow ravine where its size became a disadvantage. They unleashed a barrage of explosives, targeting its legs and eyes, looking for any sign of vulnerability. The predator roared in anger and pain, but it continued its relentless pursuit. The battle stretched on, a brutal test of endurance and wits. The humans adapted with every move the creature made, using traps to slow it, feints to draw it out, and teamwork to stay one step ahead. They noticed how it hesitated at loud noises, how its eyes flickered at bright flashes. They realized it could be disoriented, even if only for a moment. They used that knowledge to their advantage, coordinating a series of attacks that forced the beast into the open, exposing it to their full firepower. With every strategy employed, they pushed the creature further to its limits. The alien spectators watched in stunned silence, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. No competitor had ever fought this way, no fear, no panic, just relentless determination and cold calculation. The humans fought like they had nothing to lose, as if they belonged there all along. Then, in a final act of desperation, the creature lunged again, this time with all its remaining strength. The humans anticipated the move. A trap was triggered, a series of explosions that disoriented the beast just as they launched their counterattack. They struck its exposed underbelly, the one weak spot they had identified. The creature staggered, roaring in pain, its massive frame collapsing to the ground with a deafening crash. The humans closed in, delivering the final blow. Silence fell over the arena. The once feared predator lay still, defeated. The humans, battered and exhausted, stood over its fallen body, their weapons lowered but still at the ready. The alien spectators, tournament organizers, and even the Galactic Council members watching from afar were left in disbelief. This wasn't supposed to happen. The humans weren't supposed to win, weren't supposed to be here at all. Yet here they stood, victorious. Whispers spread throughout the galactic chambers, growing into a murmur of shock and awe. They defeated it, one voice muttered. Impossible, another responded, unable to tear their eyes away from the scene. The tournament organizers exchanged uneasy glances. The council members, who had laughed at the notion of human participation, now sat in stunned silence, grappling with the implications of what had just unfolded. The announcer, struggling to find words, finally declared the human team as the unexpected champions of the tournament. There was a momentary pause, as if the very universe held its breath, and then a roar erupted, not from the alien spectators, but from the humans themselves. They had done it. Against all odds, they had not just survived, they had conquered. The Galactic Council, still in shock, issued a formal recognition. Humanity, once seen as insignificant and primitive, was now acknowledged as a force to be reckoned with. Not just competitors, but apex predators, the new standard by which all others would be measured. As the humans prepared to return to Earth, they felt a mix of triumph and unease. They had proven themselves, but at what cost? They had drawn the attention of the entire galaxy. They knew their victory would not be celebrated by all. For some, it would be a challenge, a call to arms. They had gone from being an unknown species on the fringes of the galaxy to a central player in its future. And with that recognition came new threats, new dangers. Back on Earth, they were welcomed as legends. Their names would be spoken of in awe, their actions recounted in stories for generations. But they also knew this was just the beginning. They had revealed their hand, shown what humanity was capable of, and now they would need to prepare for what came next. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and potential enemies. They were no longer hidden, no longer overlooked. They had declared themselves to the universe. The final reflection was clear. Humanity had proven they could not only survive but thrive. They had demonstrated their resilience, their adaptability, and their will to win at any cost. But they also knew they had to be ready. The universe had taken notice, and the game had changed. Humanity stood firm, aware of the challenges ahead, but ready to face them. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again.